Tra-la-la! Hey guys, Eli Copperman here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. Now, I will admit, I do have a relatively keen background on Captain Underpants in general. Although I was never the biggest fan, I do remember reading some of the books as a little kid, and I will admit they were quite appropriate for my sense of humor at the time. I mean, hey, I was a little kid then. I loved how self-aware it was, all its toilet humor, everything. I just loved it, and I also really liked the characters like George and Harold and, well, Professor Krupp, aka Captain Underpants himself. But let's be honest with ourselves. This is not the kind of movie that you'd expect Dreamworks to make an animated film out of, let alone any film studio. Yet they did. Now comes the movie. The first epic movie, to be precise. And admittedly, I was a little skeptical, but when I saw the trailers, I thought to myself, you know, this could actually work. Maybe not, but hey, you never know. And it happens to be written by Nicholas Stoller, and hey, I've talked about Nicholas Stoller once before, and I don't need to say it again. I really like some of the guy's work. And the animation of the film kind of resembles the Peanuts movie, though more fluid. And so with that said, I finally saw the film with my friend Michael today, and what did I think of it? So based off the first book and fourth book in the series, with a little bit of some sprinkles of the second and third film, the plot centers around two imaginative elementary school prankster students named George Beard and Harold Hutchins, who hypnotize their mean-spirited principal, Mr. Krupp, who doesn't like anything fun and tries to separate them, and they hypnotize him into thinking he is Captain Underpants, a hero in their comics that they write together. Meanwhile, a scientist named, I'm not kidding here, Professor Poopy Pants, has a diabolical plan of eliminating all laughter in the world, and so now it's up to George and Harold to not only stop this madman, but also keep themselves from being separated from Mr. Krupp, a la Captain Underpants. Yeah, right off the bat, the story really isn't the greatest. But for a film like this, it works. Because keep in mind, like Captain Underpants was a series of books first and a film second, so you take all the liberties you can get with it. I think Matt Stoller-Zeitz of RogerEbert.com said it best. The film is really hampered by a rushed, jumbled quality, and it does have the usual tiresome features for a Dreamworks film like the frantic action scenes and the use of workhouse pop songs. But they actually did it pretty well, considering that, well, it fits the standards for a film like this. I mean, it's a film about a guy who dresses up in underwear and to save the day. There's no way you can take that seriously. And the film definitely has heart to it. You definitely feel sorry for George and Harold because, hey, in reality, they're just pranksters, but hey, they're kids. What can you do? And they do have a passion for humor and drawing and comics. And I really did admire that throughout the film, as I totally related to that. Yeah, they may have been kids, but hey, you know what? They were just kids. Let them have fun. Speaking of George and Harold, the characters in general pretty much fit the standards of who they really are. I mean, Mr. Krupp is just the cranky old principal who doesn't like anything fun. Professor Poopy Pants is the scientist who just can't be taken seriously and he just wants to get rid of laughter. And Melvin's the smart kid who doesn't find anything funny. Seriously, like he doesn't even have a sense of humor at all. So yeah, they're just generic tropes, but for a movie like this, like I said, it works in its favor because, hey, it is a film based off a kid's book. They're not the most developed, but you know what? For what they are, you do feel sorry for them one way or another. Mr. Krupp feels alone, and you just want him to feel happy for once. And he does at the end, but I'm not going to spoil that. Professor Poopy Pants just wants to be taken seriously, but come on, his name is Professor Poopy Pants. You gotta live with what you have. And Melvin, yeah, I don't find something funny in real life, but come on, dude. Are you telling me you don't find anything funny? Lame. You're voiced by Jordan Peele, man. Oh, yeah, believe it or not, some of the kids, including George and Harold, are voiced by adults. Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch, to be precise. Now, I wouldn't mind this, admittedly, since I have seen adults voice kids and they've done a good job. However, while Kevin Hart and Thomas Middleditch do pretty good jobs voicing their characters, I mean, Kevin Hart does sound like a kid, it would have been nice if we had, like, professional voice actors voice them, but hey, that's just a nitpick. Also, Ed Helms did a really good job playing Mr. Krupp, as he knew perfectly how to switch from his grumpy old self to Captain Underpants. All the tra-la-la and have no fear, citizen. You can tell he was having a lot of fun in the recording studio. Oh, and nice German accent, Nick Kroll. Not as funny as your voice as Douche in Sausage Party, but still a lot of fun. You nailed it. So to sum up the story and characters, they're both very enjoyable. They are different kinds of tropes and cliches we've seen in superhero films and comedies and action films, but they work for a book series that was meant for kids. And speaking of book series that was meant for kids, let's talk about the humor. Now, if you're not a fan of juvenile toilet humor and all that, this film is not for you. But don't worry, there's a lot more humor than just that. There's also fourth wall breaking jokes, references to the books for all the fans, wordplay, one-liners, great line delivery, slapstick. The film's got you covered. The humor may appeal more to kids than adults, but even at that, there's some good subtle adult jokes like, with the principals and the teachers and the phone call. I don't want to spoil the jokes, but oh man, you gotta see it because they'll totally relate to you. And to wrap this all up, let's talk about the animation. Now at first glance, the animation feels very similar to that of the Peanuts movie, and I totally agree, but it's more fluent than the Peanuts film. I mean, obviously, they took the simple 2D characters and incorporated them to CGI and still made them look like the same 2D characters as well as move like them. But hey, it fits for this film because, hey, it's all simplistic. The simplistic backgrounds and stuff, it works for this film. That and the animation can be quite cartoony, but hey, it doesn't go too over the top that it's ridiculous. Another thing I really liked about the animation was the effects animation. It was very colorful, bright, and man, the lighting on them was fantastic. And the action scene near the end, wow. Pretty solid animation, Dreamworks and Nick Gross Image. Oh, and one more thing to mention, I also like how the film was kind of like a social allegory and satire on school life of children who have to go to their school that pretty much feels like a penitentiary since there's barely any fun in it. Oh man, I totally relate to that. I may be leaving school, but hey, those memories are going to be locked up in me forever. Always make the most of what you have, kids. But always remember to have fun, one way or another. With a fast-paced, energetic, and surprisingly lighthearted story, chaotic animation, lovable characters, good humor, and lots of fan service to please fans of the books and remind them of their nostalgia, I'd say Captain Underpants was a pretty solid film that I'm really glad I saw in theaters. Is it the best superhero film of the year? That's really debatable. I mean, we have like Logan, the Lego Batman movie, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But for this, I'd say this is probably one of the best films Dreamworks has made in quite some time. Not as good as the How to Train Your Dragon films, but for a film like this, it is quite enjoyable, and I definitely recommend it for fans of the books and those who want to introduce the films or books to their kids, because this is a lot of fun for fans of family films, animated films, the books in general, and Dreamworks in general as a whole. This isn't going to appeal to everyone. I mean, come on, it's called Captain Underpants. But hey, if you're willing to accept it for what it is and to let it sink in its message to always have fun one way or another as a kid, then definitely go check it out. And with that done, I'm going to give Captain Underpants a 7 out of 10. It is a very enjoyable film. And with that said, I take to the sky like an ostrich. See you later, fans. Tra-la-la!